This is Tim Brown, author of the book, Uncommon Athletes, Lead with Passion, Ignite Your Purpose. And I'm excited today to have with me a good friend, a great friend, Clark Kellogg, who's agreed to join us today to talk about the chapter on being an overcomer. I've known Clark. We grew up together in, as Chuck would say, the mean streets of East Cleveland.
Yeah,
but no,
they weren't so mean when we were growing up, though. It was a safe, loving place, man, as I recall it.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it was just a wonderful experience that we had growing up. The friendship, the kinship, and all that. And we were excited in East Cleveland as we watched one of our childhood friends, grow up, do well in high school basketball at St. Joseph, All-American high school player, go to Ohio State, have great success. And then we were really patting our chest, beating our chest, knowing that we had somebody in the NBA in the neighborhood, We were proud, that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the career kind of ended, so to speak, that obstacle came into your life. And so I wanted to, today you can kind of speak about that, how to overcome that obstacles that are going to come in your life.
Yeah, Tim, great to be with you, man. And really appreciate all you've done over the years to impact young people particularly, but to all people. You're a tremendous peer and friend of mine, and we sharpen each other, as the scriptures talk about iron sharpening iron. Men can do that with one another through sharing life together. And you and I have been doing that for decades now. So I'm glad to jump on and talk a little bit about overcoming. My life has been extremely, and extraordinarily blessed, quite honestly. I mean, the favor of the Lord has rested on me before I even knew him, in terms of my parents, my extended family growing up in East Cleveland, a number of the teachers and coaches that have been part of my journey, teammates, family members. I mean, I've been really richly blessed in terms of relationships. And my life hasn't really had a ton of bumps or roadblocks when I look back and think about it, as I approach 60 years old next year and think about where I've been in and through basketball. It's hard for me to find any real item or circumstance to complain about. And that's not my nature anyway, but I've enjoyed great favor and blessing, and I thank God for that. But my playing career did come to an abrupt end because of knee injury. 3 knee surgeries on my left knee. The first one was in 1984, the second one was in 85, and then the third one was 1986, which ultimately was the beginning of the end of my playing career. I got drafted by the Pacers back in 1982, was a top 10 pick, a promising young player for the Pacers, and then started to have some issues with this left knee in 1984. Recovered from that first surgery and was on my way to continuing my career, and then had another hiccup with this knee, the fraying away of cartilage, the wearing away of cartilage. That cushion between your thigh bone and your shin bone started to wear away. So after the second surgery, I was hopeful that I would still be able to get back to the court. I did make it back, but only for a short time before the knee started to act up again. And ultimately, I had a third surgery in the winter of 1986 that was the end of my playing career. I rehabbed, went through a third surgery, did the rehab, got back out on the court in the spring of 86 and early that summer of 87 rather. And the knee just would not respond. It continued to swell. I couldn't, in fact, play without swelling and stiffness. And that was during the summer. And I knew if I couldn't play and work out the way I needed to during the summer, there was no way I was going to be able to navigate playing an NBA schedule that next season. So my career ended in August of 1987, man. My playing career was over and it was done. And that was one of the hardest things I encountered and experienced, because basketball had been so much of a driving force and such a good thing in my life. Paid for my college education, allowed me to enjoy a lifestyle that was something I had dreamed about.
Mm-hmm.
in terms of being able to take care of myself and my family and help other people financially. Those were all things that basketball provided me with. Relationships, seeing and traveling the country. A lot of great things came my way through basketball. And now the playing part was over because of my knee troubles. And man, I tell you, it was hard thinking about what I lost and what was going to be next.
Mm-hmm. So how would you say, speaking to an athlete that may happen to them down the road, or they might already be in it, what kind of attitude do you have to have to deal
Yeah,
with?
it's interesting, Tim. I always saw basketball because of my parents and coaches. I always saw it as a means to an end. I knew at some point it would end.
Right.
I wanted to play as long as I could. I wanted to be as good as I could be, and was hoping to be an all-star and get to the playoffs and all the things you dream about when you're an athlete. You want to get as far as you can go, and you want to achieve as much as you can achieve. So my attitude was locked into trying to become the very best player I could become, but also recognizing that my life would go on whenever basketball stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that as one of my pieces in place, in that I knew basketball at some point would end. Wasn't expecting it to happen that way. So that was the first thing, having a perspective in knowing that this was just a part of my life, an important part, a significant part, a really good part, but it wasn't the totality of my life. Who I was as a man, who I would become as a husband and a father, those things were going to carry me far longer than basketball. How did I treat people? And those were things and values that I had impressed upon me by my parents and by my teachers and coaches. So I took that to heart at an early age, that I wanted to be a good person.
Yes.
And I wanted to be a successful person. So that's the perspective I had. So as I was going through my knee injuries, I didn't think it was going to end my career, because I was hopeful and confident that the surgeries would correct the issue and I'd be back on the court. But when that became clear that it wasn't going to happen after that third surgery, then I began to think about what's next. So I think that's one of the things, is that you have to be willing to adjust to what is real and what's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And that part of it is important for any young athlete. This is your circumstance. How am I best going to handle it? So you need a positive attitude, first and foremost. I think that's critically important. Yes, this is a tough thing. This is not what I expected. This is not what I desired or wanted, to be hurt, to not to be able to play. But I still have an awful lot of life to live and a lot to offer. Now let's find out how we're going to do that. And quite honestly, my relationship with the Lord had come into my life in 1986, November of 1986, right about the time I had my third knee surgery. And then ultimately 9 months later, in August of 87 is when I had to announce my retirement. So I'd had time during that period of surgery and rehabilitation to start anchoring myself in the truth of God's word. That helped me have confidence and hope in my future, because my future was now in the Lord's hands through faith in Jesus Christ. So a positive attitude, first and foremost, is critically important. And then my faith was significant in helping me to embrace what was next in my future, even though I didn't know exactly what it was. I was a marketing major in college. At that time, hadn't finished school, because I had left a year early to go to the MBA. So in 1986, I was still a little short of my degree from Ohio State. But over time, I ended up finishing up and got my degree in 1996. So, but a positive attitude is critical, Tim. I mean, thinking, being hopeful, being positive, recognizing, and not ignoring the reality of your situation, not ignoring your pain or your disappointment, embracing that, but also realizing that there's another chapter that you can begin to write, and it starts with having a positive attitude as you move through whatever your adversity might be.
As you mentioned that, could you speak to your next chapter? How did that come about, and kind of some of the things that you're doing now?
Yeah, I tell you, man, basketball, like I said earlier, has been a critically important part of my life, a significant part of my life. It's given me far more, I think, than I can ever repay the game, quite honestly. I mean, God gave me some ability. I was committed to doing the work and had great people come alongside me to allow me to realize my dream. I mean, I dreamed of being a pro player when I was 10, 11 years old,
Mm.
and it became a reality at 21, and then had the dream fulfilled for 4 or 5 years as an NBA player, one of the best players in the world in the early 80s. And then it's taken away because of injury. And when I got done playing and announced my retirement, uh, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I knew I wanted to stay involved in the game in some capacity if I could. I also had an interest in business. I was a marketing major, as I said. My mentor and still a dear friend of mine, Ira Novak, is a very successful independent insurance agent in Cleveland. So I had spent summers working in his agency and had learned the insurance business somewhat to where I could possibly go in that direction as a career path. But I got an opportunity with the Pacers to
Mm.
be a radio analyst
Mm.
for the radio broadcast of Indiana Pacer games. And that was the beginning of a journey that's now 34 years
Wow.
and running.
Mm.
I started with Pacers Radio, did that for 2 years. That first year I did Pacer Radio, I did Cleveland State University television. 6 or 8 games I did as a commentator on television in my hometown
Mm.
for Cleveland State University. And that laid the foundation for my broadcasting career. Pacers Radio, because of my relationship with the team and my presence in the community, and I had always been a spokesperson for our teams and dealing with the media. And that goes back to my mom telling me that if I was going to be some basketball star and they were going to put a microphone in front of me, I better be able to put together a sentence
Yeah.
and answer questions effectively. So I took that to heart, man,
Yes.
from the time I was ninth, 10th grader and started to get some success as a player and would interact with reporters and so forth. I was serious about trying to communicate well because of what my mother had threatened me with. She said, "You better not embarrass me if you get a microphone in front of you." And that led to my opportunity with the Pacers. I mean, I knew basketball, Tim. I mean, I had gotten the highest degree of education you can get in hoops, going from high school to college at the Big Ten level at Ohio State and into the NBA. I mean, you can't go much higher than that in basketball. So I had a great education in the game, and I knew it. And so I got a chance to be a radio commentator for the Pacers and loved it, enjoyed it, loved the work that was involved. Always have enjoyed words and communicating. So that was what led to my broadcasting career. Pacers Radio, Pacers TV, Cleveland State TV, Atlantic 10 Network Television, Big East Network Television, ESPN, and now CBS, where I've been one of the top analysts in the studio and on game coverage for the last 24 years.
Wow. That's awesome. Lastly, Clark, could you leave something with some student athletes on things they can learn as they go through these obstacles or what these roadblocks? You know, they're all going to go through something.
Yes, right. That's right.
Take away.
Well, there are a number of things. The first thing is you learn more about who you are. And that's important. Self-discovery is often through our successes, those things we accomplish and do well, but it's also through our failures or our disappointments. So I think we have to look at that whole fabric of our journey as an opportunity to learn more about what's inside of us, what we're capable of doing, what we're capable of enduring. That's one thing. The other thing is you need other people.
Mm.
You need other people that are supporting you, that are giving you good counsel, that are helping you work through not just your failures, but also your successes, people that are giving you wisdom. Coaches, teachers, parents, even your peers can offer you good, solid advice and can be a great support for you as you work through the adversity that we're all going to face. All of us are going to face some type of roadblock or adversity or pain or loss or suffering. It's inevitable. It's part and parcel of living the life that God gives us in a fallen world. We're going to have roadblocks and headwinds and adversity. So recognizing that other people can help you walk through that, learning about who you are. And then the other thing is you can learn how to get up and
Mm.
keep moving forward, because growth is not a straight line. Sometimes it's straightforward, sometimes it's sideways, and sometimes you get knocked down. And how are you going to get up? And you have the capacity to get up. That's the other thing you learn through adversity, is that, yes, this is hard. Yes, I wouldn't have wished this on myself if I had a say in it, but I can work through it. And in the working through it, I become stronger and better in some capacity if we're willing to accept it as part of our journey. So those are things that I found to be helpful as I've worked through disappointments in whatever form they come. It might be my doing. It might be something that somebody's done to me. It might be something that's beyond anybody's control. It just happens. And yet, being able to look at it in a positive way, recognize other people can help you in that, learn about who you are and what's important to you, and then you have the ability to turn it into something positive, to work it for your good. The scriptures tell us that God works all things in the lives of those who follow him together for good. That doesn't mean that it'll be easy when you're going through it, or not disappointing or painful or hurtful, but it will at some point produce something good in you and or through you. And so that's how I've embraced any of the adversity that I've encountered, by faith, but also recognizing it's a chance for, for me to grow as I kind of work through it.
That's powerful. Well, Clark, as always, thank you for those inspirational and powerful words. And I pray that the athletes and coaches who listen to this, and parents, will be encouraged by your story, by your testimony. And they would know that those obstacles will come their way, but having the right
That's right.
attitude, getting up and keep looking forward and keep moving. So I
That's right.
family, blessing over you and your family, and just thanks for
Thank you, bro. My pleasure, Tim. Great to be with you, man. And keep on keeping on. You're doing impactful, significant work, touching a lot of lives through your various platforms and through the life you live. So, man, proud to be your friend. Much love to you, and we'll keep journeying forward together, my brother.
All right. Have a great day. Thanks.
Yeah, you too, man. Thanks, bro.